Okay, good evening. Cassidy, do you have 7 on your clock? No, 6:59. Okay, no. It's okay. I thought it was at 7. No, she's not feeling well.
Oh, she is not.
And can we verify if we're streaming accurately and online?
Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem was that was during the presentation, his equipment, was faulty and affected our system.
Yeah, I assumed that was the case. When they plugged in the laptop, that's when the feed ended, so.
That's usually an indicator. We ran several tests and, we determined, yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I have 7 o'clock. So I will call the Cromwell Town Council regular meeting of Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will give it to Al. Al, will you guide us in the pledge? Thank you, Mr. Waters. I will now move to item C, approval of the agenda, and I have been asked to move citizens' comments up to after the town manager's update. So I'll accept a motion to move citizens' comments to up after the town manager's update.
Second.
Made by Al, seconded by Brian. Hearing any further discussions on that? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, next is the commission chairman reports, liaison reports, staff reports. So what I'd ask is, I know Selena is here from the Board of Ed. Selena, do you mind waiting until we get into finance just to report it with the actual item? Thank you. But if there are other Board of Ed updates you'd like to make, if you want to make them now, you can. You want to wait till then? Okay. Any other chairman reports or staff reports from any other commissions or staff that are here that are not otherwise on the agenda? Okay. Hearing none, I'll move on to my mayor's update. We have had, I was away for part of the month of August, but then I came back and was raring to go. I'll start with today and work my way backwards. Today I met with the town manager, public works director, and the town engineer and town finance director. We discussed the facilities proposal. I've received the councilors' comments on the facility, building facility committee. I've taken those edits into account, and then working with town staff, the town staff are going to be making some suggestions for edits. We're looking closely at Berlin, Madison, and other municipalities, which were in the packet that Amanda had distributed to you guys at the last meeting. So I'll meet with them again in a couple weeks to review their comments and feedback, and then present you all with updated draft of that facilities project, facilities committee. Additionally to that, we also met and discussed an idea and a concept for a field maintenance form that user groups can use to review the status of fields when they're actually going out there and using them. Has a couple categories like cleanliness, drainage, if the lines are drawn correctly, if the grass is tall, all those kind of categories. And we hope that that will allow more live and interactive feedback from the user groups. We're going to be looking over the course of the next month about whether or not we can get a Google link or some kind of e-link so that somebody can go on their phone, fill it out, send it back to the town, so that way we know which fields need additional attention. And we are also going to be looking at doing a site walk or field walk with the different user groups on the fields. We also met today with the Board of Finance Chair to discuss the bonding. We'll be having our joint meeting on the 24th here at 5:30. Right, 5:30, Tony, is the time for our meeting? Yep. So I do know that that is also the day of the ribbon cutting, or not the ribbon cutting, the public tours of the middle school. So that event starts at 5:30, or at 5, so what I think will have to happen is we'll go for that event till 5:30 and then come here for our joint meeting. That's the only day bond counsel was available, that the majority of other people were available, so I want to make sure we get to talk with bond counsel.
What's the date?
The 24th of September. A couple of other highlights from the last couple of weeks. I attended the 100th anniversary of the American Legion Post 105, and it was a great ceremony. The weather held out, so they were able to host the ceremony without any issues, and it was the same day as the Cromwell Creative District townwide tag sale, which I understand was very, very popular this year. I've also met with the Cromwell Lions regarding the Community Event Committee's Riverport Festival fundraising efforts. The Lions have offered to help host a bingo night to help raise money for the Riverport Festival. And the Community Events Committee is rearing to go, all engines going. They have a new brochure that has been sent out with sponsorship levels, as well as new graphics and design highlighting the 175th anniversary of the town, which will be next year and next summer, and have the Riverport coincide with the 175th anniversary of our town's founding, as well as the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding. We also met recently with the Cromwell Creative District, the town manager, and with a contractor regarding renovations to the Rose Garden in Pearson Park. That will, thanks to an AARP grant and matching funds from the Cromwell Creative District, they will be widening the pavers in there and making it ADA accessible and bringing the sidewalk. The town will be bringing the sidewalk up to the Rose Garden so that somebody could access the Rose Garden who's in a wheelchair all the way through. And I give a big kudos to the town staff that are going to be doing part of the work for that project to get the sidewalk ready and the Rose Garden prepped for the brickwork. And otherwise, those are my highlights from the last couple of weeks. I'm happy to take any questions that anyone may have. Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to our town manager's report. Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a busy time since our last meeting. A couple of additional items that were not on my report. The Sustainable Connecticut, we are all set to submit the application. We've addressed what is needed for Tier 1, and with hopefully some luck, will be certified in April, which is the next time that they do the certification. We met with Kerma, myself and the finance director, and we received back from Kerma a $54,000 plus check to the town of Cromwell. This is basically as a member of Kerma, when they have extra funds, they then divide them amongst the membership, which are municipalities, and present them. And as such, I believe this one is probably the largest we received. Yes, it's one of the largest checks we received back from Kerma. To address Councilman Moran's question, Mr. Spina is working on the vehicle analysis, and we're in the process of purchasing a program to see if that will address the needs of the fleet, which would include all vehicles and pieces of equipment.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Sure.
That 54,000, what pot does that go into? And
General
I'm
fund.
looking at.
Those are the miscellaneous sources of revenue.
Okay,
It goes,
yeah, so we can use it for anything,
yes.
for all intents and purposes. Okay. Thank you.
And, there's a number of things that Mr. Spina will talk, about. He did hand out his report, though, for the first time in ages, I think since Marconi invented the radio system. Our fleet is near completion of, receiving new radios, and, he'll give you an update on that, but, it was long overdue, for the, especially Public Works, and they will also have portables that they'll be able to use when they're flagging for traffic, which makes it a lot safer, for our employees. He's got a number of items that we have in the works. We went out to bid on, the Wist Fields for, the drainage analysis. That came back, he can speak to that also. And the bathrooms at the high school are now complete and, being utilized. And, the sidewalks also on Willowbrook Road are now completed also, which we received a lot of positive comments on. With that, I'll be happy, and the mayor announced Public Works will take, the Rose Garden down completely, and, Mountain View out of Cromwell will come in, and as a result of the grant, as, stated by the mayor, from AARP, they will put in cobblestone walkways, will make the, Rose Garden ADA accessible, and, hopefully, next spring, we will be able to, hopefully with the aid, if we can find someone, a master gardener, do some plantings there, primarily centering on some roses, but also different types of plants to make it, hopefully pleasantly attractive. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try.
Yeah, sure. And then let me just, two quick point. Could you discuss really quickly, with the basketball court, you guys went out there today, and then the senior center, expansion possibility?
The basketball, the mayor made me aware that, allegedly, after our crew went in there, and I think they did an outstanding job paving the basketball court at the Wiz, that, he did receive, some complaints, or a complaint regarding, initially, we thought it to be levelness, but, there's possibly some areas that have little rises, and, I met out there with staff, Mr. Spina and Mr. Harriman, Don Quick, our highway foreman, and, I'm hoping to meet with the person that complained, but if not, Mr. Spina's crew is prepared to go back in, heat up the spots, and re-roll them. As far as the senior center, the gentleman hasn't returned my calls.
Alrighty, any questions from anybody? I'll start with my left. Go ahead, Al.
Tony, as far as the radio system, does this include the highway department trucks, snow plows, et cetera?
Nearly all our rolling stock now has new radios.
Especially when they're plowing snow? Yes?
They, payloaders,
Yeah.
trucks, pool cars. Mr. Spina can address it more, but nearly, we purchased, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50-some-odd radios, and, 3 base stations, one for the PD, town hall, and highway.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none. Barring any other questions, we'll move on to citizens' comments, which have been moved up. So if any citizens would like to speak, please go up to the podium right over there, and just make sure the mic is on. Please state your name and your mailing address for the record. And I think public comments are 2 minutes, but if you need additional time, we can give you an extra minute or two if you need it. Thank you so much.
It's
Is it on? Just tap it a couple times. No.
shut it off. Keep it on.
It's the microphone's temperamental. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy Norris. I'm at 7 Briarwood Gardens in Cromwell. My question was about the news report last spring about a possibly donated, is the word I'll use, senior center. So I was hoping to see if we could have, get a status on what the progress is on that or not, but it seems, Tony, as though we're nowhere. Is there anything more I can ask you to tell us about that at this point?
Unfortunately, I made several calls, and I'm not getting a return call.
Okay. The only other request that I have going forward is, I am on the senior commission, and what I'm hoping is that if there is any change, or even if there's not a change, that somehow we could, at the senior commission meetings once a month, find out what is going on with that until it's either a go-ahead or it's completely dead. Is it possible to get that kind of status report for the senior commission meetings?
Sure, I'll relay it to Amy so that you'll have that.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming tonight.
Thank you.
Get home safely. Any other citizens' comments? Anyone, any other citizens' comments? Okay. Hearing no other citizens' comments, we will then move on to our town council liaison reports. I'll start from my left. Paula, do you have any liaison reports?
Okay. On August 15th, I attended a summer picnic pop-up at Watchers Park sponsored by Youth Services. On September 8th, I attended the Senior Commission meeting and the Library Commission meeting. On August 26th, I attended the Cromwell Middle School ribbon cutting, and on September 6th, I attended the American Legion celebration.
Great. Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Brian, any updates from your commissions?
Let's see, the fire commission, I believe they have decided on a refurbished ambulance. They call it a box swap, where they're gonna take the box off of one and put it on a brand-new chassis of another vehicle. I think they got a good deal on it, and I think they saved quite a bit of money for the taxpayers by going that route. Also, they have upgraded their radio systems also. Other than that,
Beautiful. Glad to hear that they're being creative, because those I know they have a fire truck apparatus that they're going to have to be buying soon. So every penny saved is a penny that goes to the apparatus. Al.
The EDC took the summer off, so unable to, any reports there. I could not do the Senior Advisory Commission Monday due to the fact that I had a couple other commitments prior to that, about 5 months ago. And the Cromwell Historical Society, they're having some paint issues with the windows. They did hire a guy that supposedly came in to, gave them a very good price, but I guess the price was too good, because I guess he kind of walked away from it. And I've been to the board of directors at the Historical Society, and they got a lot of good plans going and fundraisers going, and that's why at the time I was hoping that they can get more money in the budget, but so far they're holding their head above the water, so that's about it.
Jack, any updates from you?
No, none of the businesses, the meetings that I run to, the cancellations in August, so.
And then, Ann, do you have any updates either on the water policy that you were researching, or for the sewage in the river, or anything else that you'd like to share?
I'm happy to take a permanent liaison assignment, and I'll
Yes.
touch base with you on that. The mayor had asked that I look into an issue that was raised by two state legislators, one from Windsor and one from I forget the town, but southern Connecticut, all along the river, addressing concerns about sewage overflows into the Connecticut River. And so what I have done so far is obviously researched that letter and the origin and the concerns that were raised, and looked into, there are different levels of authority with the environmental agencies between Massachusetts and Connecticut. The concerns raised by the two Connecticut state legislators were focused on sewage overflows coming from Massachusetts. And this is an issue that is not just unique to Massachusetts. We also have this problem in Connecticut. It's a long-standing issue. It's not new. We are seeing more of these overflows as a result primarily of more intense storms and that flood the sewer systems, and then the default is that sewage doesn't go to the wastewater, to the waste plant, it goes directly into the rivers. So I think we can talk, I think there's opportunities for us to talk not just with those two state legislators, but to all of the legislators and municipal leaders along the river, and see if there's opportunities to collaborate and coalesce around solutions.
Great.
This is really largely a federal funding issue. But nonetheless, it is an issue, it's a public health issue, and it's something that I think collectively, I appreciate your leadership in raising it, and this council for looking into it, and I'll be able to talk more about it.
Thank you, Ann, and thank you for looking into it. On my part for the liaison reports, I just wanted to report the Planning and Zoning Commission, I attended their last meeting, and the thing I wanted to highlight was that there was some discussion about the patio over at the former Chicago Sam's, now Murphy's, about whether or not they were applying to have exterior seating, and they're going to be coming back in another month to continue that application. I want to give kudos where kudos are earned, that they have done an excellent job, and I'm sure the chief will agree with me. I think the chief will agree with me. If not, that's okay. You can disagree with me. About the they've been better about the sound. We've had less noise complaints. They've been better about the crowd control, the crowd management. There haven't been as big of fights or other things that we were having when Chicago Sam's were there. So they've been good neighbors, but we'll just try to figure out how do we balance their desire to have outdoor patio seating with the ability of residents to not have to walk on the road to get by.
Now, is that in the front of the building or the back?
They want to have it on the front of the building, where they used to have, before the pillars went up, they had the chairs and the little tables against the wall. And then during sometime
On the
after
sidewalk.
yeah, on the sidewalks. Then sometime after the pillars went up, they extended the tables all the way to the curb. And then during COVID, they extended it into the road. They want to keep it on the curb, and the concern was raised that their point of egress for somebody who's walking on the sidewalk would be through the dining area. And town staff had indicated some concerns about, it's not very clear for somebody walking or.
I'm not sure, but I believe that liquor control requires you to have that barricaded if you're going to have alcohol outside.
Not anymore.
They've lifted that?
But our police department's requesting that requirement stay in.
Okay.
So that's part of the issue. If you were, let's say, on a wheelchair and you're going down the sidewalk out of Goldfish, or you have to come off.
into the road and go around the dining area to get.
Correct. And so that's the concern. They said that there's an option that you can go through the dining area, but that may not be super feasible. But they're going to work on it, and they're going to come back with a modified design, I think. Otherwise, planning and zoning is chugging along. I think that's the major thing that took up most of the discussion last meeting. And those are all the liaison reports. So barring any questions, we can move on to our finance director's update with her budget report, followed shortly thereafter with the track information. So don't worry, Claudio and Selena, your time is about to come. In a positive way. That sounds ominous. Your moment is about to arrive. There we go.
All right, good evening. In your packet are 2 fiscal years, 25 and 26, for budget reports year '26 is through the end of August. And, since we are only 2 months in, I have no concerns at this point. As I told you last meeting, we are anticipating a slight surplus, which right now I am anticipating about approximately 1 million. We are mid-audit, so there could be some audit adjustments. So this September, I had a meeting with the bond counsel, and the town manager also attended, and the advisor and counsel, and we got the timeline for the bonding, and it is an extremely aggressive timeline. We only have a month to prepare to go out to bond. I have to prepare an official statement, so my office is diligently working on all that information so we can move forward with the bond. On one note, I would just like to acknowledge my office. The staff in my office has done a great job, especially Eureka, for their outstanding efforts with the school. It is a lot of work for my office, a lot of paperwork, and I just want to recognize how they handled it and the extra hours and time that they put in to make sure all the paperwork was handled for the school.
No, and I want to echo that. Your staff does an excellent job, and I know the school is a very big, heavy lift, a lot of receipts to have to go through, and payroll orders, and not payroll, change orders, and all of those other things. I know they all flow into your office before they go to the town manager. So keeping track of them and keeping track of the budget, I know is a lot of work, so thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong. Back before we had the lawsuit brought against us, if I'm not mistaken, we had about $13 million surplus at the time? Can you correct me if I'm
Oh,
wrong?
you mean fund balance?
Yes.
Yes, and I want to say as of the audit last year, that went up to a little over 15 plus. So it will also change when we're finished with this audit, and I won't have that number until the audit is complete.
So,
But we did increase last year due to our surplus.
okay, so in other words, when you said $1 million, that's what kind of made me wonder, wait a minute, we got more than that.
Oh, this is just
for the
surplus
budget
from
year.
our budget.
Yeah.
Budget, where the budget is.
Yeah. But I just wanted to make sure I remember what transpired back at that time with the $13 million
Yes.
surplus.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the fund balance is essentially a rainy day fund in case there's another COVID or something like that where we have to have emergency appropriations. I think, how many days does that fund us through in an
We
emergency?
do 60 days.
60.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to what I think is going to be the most exciting part of our meeting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the chief will surprise us afterwards, but we'll go to discussion and, or Lou, we'll go to discussion and possible action regarding an appropriation for the repair of the high school track. So Claudio and Selena are both here, so if you guys want to approach the podium and kind of present with us where we're at with that, what happened last night, and then what's remaining for us to appropriate.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We did meet last night, and we did have an item to discuss the track. We know it's in disrepair. We've been talking about it for a very long time and trying to find a way to remedy it, and there's been some discussion in past meetings about possibly doing this jointly in some way. We do have the surplus at the end of the school year in the amount of approximately $575,000, which we also requested last night be put in our unexpended. Of that, we were discussing how much of that we could feasibly put toward this project. You have the quote, Mayor Demetriadis. I'm not sure if you were able to circulate it to everyone before the meeting, but I have it here too. And so the quote was for $382,800 plus an additional $20,340, so approximately $403,000. That's the total of, and that's a repair, not a complete redo. I'm sorry, Brian.
That's just to repair the spots that are in disrepair right now?
It's to resurface the entire.
It's to resurface the entire track, okay.
And Selena, hold on, let me just let them finish. Just to clarify, last night you guys appropriated 175 of the 403.
150,000.
150.
After discussion, that the board felt comfortable with for a few reasons. One being that the special education costs fluctuate so much, we really don't know what to expect month to month, so we would rather have a little extra to account for that. Additionally, the federal funding that is potentially at risk, although we have no indication right now that we're not receiving it. As of now, no news is good news, so we are starting to receive some of the federal funds. Jack?
The 150 that was appropriated, is that from the 382 or the?
Oh, that's the amount of the quote.
575.
The 150 is
Oh,
out of
that's
the
right, that's
surplus.
right. So it's appropriated for the, well, the overall cost, the 403 or whatever that number ends up being. Okay, so that 150. And, let's see, were there additional discussions on where's the rest? Or how?
Well, there were discussions on what's the correct amount to put toward this.
Right, because you don't know, yeah.
Right. So, we did have some discussions. Some board members felt more strongly about 50%, so some wanted to do about 200,000. But, others were more cautious and worried about what the future holds for us, so trying to be financially smart about it on our end as well, seeing how things can fluctuate. So there was discussion, but in the end, the 150,000 won.
The Jack, part of the discussion that Selena and I had when we found out what the final surplus would be in August from the, they do the same thing we do. They see where they're at the end of the year. So when they found out what their surplus is, what we had discussed was if the cost was in the high threes, low fours, that we would split the cost and the Board of Ed would pay for half and the town would pay for half. Ultimately, it's all the same pocket, I guess. If it's the same body, it's just the left or right pocket. But the discussion was for 50-50, but for the reasons she outlined last night, they voted to not do it exactly 50-50 for, the reasons they delineated. But I want to let them finish kind of what this would entail, so her and Claudio can explain, what the scope of the project is, what would be done, what wouldn't be done as part of this, what exactly is this, because if you recall, before we found out that the base, I'm gonna butcher this, but before we found out that the underlying base is good, we were thinking it would be a much more expensive $1 million plus to redo it and dig down, level, all that stuff. Claudio had somebody go out, and he can speak to it in more detail than me, who's a simple person when it comes to this stuff. But essentially, it seems like repaving it would do the job, and this is what it would take to repave it. So, Claudio, do you want to just present on the actual, nuts and bolts of what the proposal is and what the 400,000, 300,
Yeah.
would cover?
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Obviously, this has been circulated several times. The scope of the work has not changed from when we began this endeavor almost a year ago. So everything has remained the same. The project basically entails replacing all the rubber surfacing that is currently there. That also will include the long jump and the high jump area. That's all included in this 382. The additional 20,000 is to add what they call grade striping in the exchange zone. So if you're running a relay race, there's an area where they exchange the baton. Rather than just a line, what it is a change of color. So as you're running, it makes it safer to find the area that you're supposed to exchange the baton, rather than looking for a line while you're trying to run, while you're trying to pass, and running full speed. So we've included that. That's standard happening everywhere, and any track that's being modified or resurfaced or built now. It maybe wasn't done 20 years ago, but this is an added safety feature that has come up and is very promising to avoid injuries. I can say one of the questions that was asked last night at the Board of Ed is the warranty. It's 5-year warranty is the industry practice. I talked to the company this morning, and they said they will add another years to make it a 6-year warranty.
And what does that warranty cover? So it would be just normal damage, wear and tear, or is it like
It isn't normal damage. If there's any problem with the work that was done.
Okay.
Regular wear and tear is never covered under
Okay.
warranty. It's really if there's some kind of negligence or mistake, or.
Becomes uneven,
starts
becomes
breaking
wavy.
apart, before it's posted.
Okay.
Any questions regarding the scope or?
Has anyone looked into just repairing the inside lane that is damaged?
No, that track is beyond that. It's coming loose.
I've walked it like 3 times. It seems to be in pretty good shape, other than the inside lane in 4 spots. I mean, I don't run track, but I mean,
We've brought in people that are in the industry to explain to us what's going on and what's happened and how we can fix it. And as the mayor pointed out, there was discussion prior to having these professionals there regarding the asphalt that's really underneath that supports the rubber. If that was damaged, then it would require complete upheaval and complete redo. Also, in this, as part of the quote at that time, when we first began this process, there was conversations regarding putting a turf field there. That would require, an inside concrete area to support the track up against the turf. But even though we have it as an alternate too, during the last year, that conversation about creating a turf field has gone away. So we know the urgency of the current field, and it is dangerous. And you see pieces falling off, and that'll continue to happen. There's different areas that you see along the edges, especially at the inside, near the curves. You'll see those pieces falling off. That'll still continue. Can you patch it? You can patch anything. But we recommend that the rubber surfacing be replaced in its entirety, because you'll see deficient areas in the long jump, and you'll see deficient areas in the high jump area also.
my concern is that we're gonna, at some point, reconfigure that whole place and end up ripping up the track and moving it somewhere down the road. And do we want to sink 400,000 into it if repairs to it are sufficient and significantly cheaper?
With all due
That's just
respect-
my-
Yeah, no, I understand.
You
With
know.
all due respect, I've been working in this town for 2 years. I've seen conversations come up about fields. Once you start looking at prices, it gets tabled, it goes away. We're nearing the point where if the CIAC comes in and says, we're condemning this field, we're ending track and field for the town and for the high school. So, $12 million project to redesign the entire Cromwell High School field and activities, my understanding was none of it ever included relocating the football field, soccer field, and the track. What was discussed is relocating the tennis courts, reconfiguring the other fields. So I can't envision that you would relocate the track in its entirety for any purposes.
Well, if you're gonna,
That would raise-
if they're gonna eventually build the football complex over there, then it's gonna have to go in the middle of the property, which means everything will have to be moved to the center of the property. I'm assuming the track would be run around the outside of the football field. Because they're not gonna be able to do, when they did their study on building that whole complex, they put it in the wrong spot, apparently, because it's close to the neighborhood. So the only way to fix that would be to put it in the center of the complex.
I would leave it
But
to
I
you-
don't know.
I would leave it to you, ladies and gentlemen, as the leaders of this town, to decide what direction. I'm not here to convince you to do anything. I'm only here to provide the information of what it's gonna take to redo the field and what potentially we can run into while we're discussing what we're gonna do in the future.
Mr. Mayor, can I just address that?
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, we did an extensive study, and for the amount of money that it would take to even consider moving the football field to the center and relocate, the choice was to leave the track in its location, move the tennis courts at some point over to the area near the high school, expand the parking lot into where the tennis courts are and the soccer fields, which stay where they are. There's no plans to move the track at this time. And, given the amount of projects that you know we have, specifically with drainage, this would be, really way down on the list, of even occurring. So, if I remember correctly, the track is beyond, making temporary, repairs. And, I think it's, I agree with, the BOE that it's time to, resurface it. The only thing I draw your attention to is the memo that I handed out from the town engineer. We just wanna make sure, because right now it's showing, the jump area in the area where we plan to expand, hopefully, at some point, the parking area. The first priority, though, in the high school complex is the track, and the second, that we would like to address is the parking. And, we wanna make sure we get it done in a manner in which, we can continue without having to rip up anything that we do. So, we are concerned about, the jump area, but, in my opinion, you're not gonna see, a complex there, at least no time, in the near future. And therefore, I agree with Claudio that, eventually CICA is gonna step in and prohibit us from having events, at our high school, and I wouldn't wanna see that happen.
Go ahead, Al. Thank you, Tony.
Good evening to you, sir. Number one question, it's kind of got me a little confused. The Board of Ed's gonna kick in so much money and the town kick in the rest. How much is gonna be coming from the town of Cromwell? Not the Board of Ed, from the town itself.
The total cost, that we have for a quote is $403,140. The Board of Ed will kick in $150,000, and the town will have to appropriate $253,140.
Okay. Thank you on that one. Number two, I paid a visit up there today. And I will have to agree what you're talking about. If any of my colleagues have any thoughts, I'd like to have them take a look at that up there. Not saying, not in favor of it, but to see the damage. I was kind of taken back what I seen up there, okay? And very hazardous, because I do see the rubber, where one of my colleagues is saying there's, temporary fix it, but I know what's going on with that rubber, it's moving, and that's dangerous. And I'm glad you're only talking about if we do decide that we're only gonna cover it. We're not gonna go down to the base and start with blacktop, because that'll cost us a fortune. And I did not see any heave marks at all up there. It's nice, it was done right the first time. And if we did have heave marks, once you take the rubber off, I call it the rubber, you could always cut it out and patch it. So you don't need to do the whole blacktop.
As you say, if you look closely at the track, the first signs you would see if there's a problem with the asphalt, you would see a separation in the asphalt.
Yes.
You can see a lip start to form. Or if there's a rise, then it's heaving up. And sometimes that occurs through a frosty.
But I haven't seen, I didn't see it.
We didn't find any of that on
No,
the field.
I'm,
I mean, there's no guarantees in our world until you get in there, but we didn't see any signs of that.
I would like to have the town council take a visit up there to let them see exactly what's going on. Not saying I'm against it, but years back, not to keep you, but years back, when it was the Board of Selectmen, when anybody had a certain amount of money they were looking for, we would always go out and visit it and see exactly what they're talking about, right to a T. And this is something that would be very interested knowledge to the council to see exactly what you're talking about firsthand. Not saying you're wrong. You're right, but the rest of them, I mean, I'd like to see some of this go back the way it was, where we go out and pay a visit to a lot of these projects, so we have a firsthand look, not on paper, firsthand look at the property or whatever the project will be.
That's very wise, Mr. Wise.
So I'd like to put a motion on the, I'd like to put a motion on the floor, if I may, or not now, but the town council take a visit out there some Saturday morning, to look at it, and I understand where he's coming from, he's 100% true.
Al, if we've already taken visits, been there on a regular basis, do we still have to go?
Yes.
Because I've been there a lot.
Keep walking, Jack.
Well, no, it's just something, we're letting things slip by us in a way
I
where,
think we've all been there, actually, to tell you the truth. I know he's been there regularly, I have
Yep.
been there regularly, he's been there, and I believe that Ann has been there as well, so we're doing the best we can.
well, I'm not saying you're not,
And
but
I think it
just walked it 3 days
absolutely
ago.
needs everything
I
you
was there
said it
today.
needs. I would agree with it, 100%, and anything that will maintain and improve safety for the students and the athletes, I'm for that 150%, and I think also that, I think we would certainly be remiss if we didn't do the things we need to do to allow the athletes who participate to not have an opportunity, and it would be awful.
I can tell you that, we're looking at that track from all angles.
Yeah.
We wanna protect that track. If we're gonna invest money into it, we wanna make sure that people are responsible, that it's only for runners and joggers, it's not for bikes, it's not for, the new e-bikes that are out, that's creating havoc in all communities, not just Cromwell. To reinforcing, make sure that it's more secure to get on there, there's more control, even keeping spectators off. We purchased a mat. You're not even supposed to walk across that track with soccer cleats or football cleats. So we purchased a mat so that lays across the track, so the kids with cleats have to stay on the mat until they get on the grass. We're looking at all angles. There used to be bleachers, short bleachers on top of the track during soccer season when it wasn't track season. We've eliminated that. We just poured new pads for 10 row-high bleachers, 2 sets that'll fit 300 people. We're doing everything possible to improve that field and to protect it.
Great.
well, if I may, now could I go back? Seeing you stole half of my show, Mr. Jack? Sense of humor, sense of humor.
You're lucky I didn't take the rest.
Well, I would like, if not on this, which particular situation, but in the future,
We can make site visits more
I
regular.
think we should do a site visit.
Sure.
Because this way here, we know firsthand, like I stated, than just seeing something on paper and you know what you're voting for, exactly. And that's what we're really put here for the taxpayers, is to go out, check, et cetera.
Well-
But, Mr. Claudio, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and it does need to be,
We're changing the whole way that field and that track is being looked at, and we're starting these security measures even before we replace the track. Because we know, even from a timeline, you can't do it during the winter, and we have to get into a contract, materials have to be ordered, so we'll be in the middle of winter. But we wanna be ready as soon as the weather allows us, and that athletic activities allow us, so we don't impact the students to be ready to go. We don't wanna lose another year.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, man. And that, like I said, I was there today, and I could see where some of the stuff is picking up. That means
Or you
that,
can go there and lift it up.
oh, I did, I did,
That's how loose.
okay? And so apparently,
God.
the tack is gone between the two, because of the rubber and the kids running on it. That's where. Thank you.
Okay, with that said, Tony, just a question. With the long jump and the triple jump, or whatever it is, the shock put, I don't remember what it's called. Yeah.
Man,
The shock put? Is that what it's
Tony, I was just
things
there
are in that
yesterday,
area.
spent an hour on there at the track, actually kicking kids out with their bikes, for an hour. The high jump and the long jump is actually inside the track. It's not on the outside of the track. That actually, school end zone, but it's inside the track, inside the oval, yes.
The town engineer's concern was that he didn't see it. He just wanted to make sure that we're not putting it at the south end outside where we would like to expand the parking lot, at some point.
At the end of the track, there's probably about a 40, 50-foot area of grass, and then there's the actual tennis court. So there's nothing on the outside of the.
And the other concern, we just want to make sure also, if successful in moving forward, that there's a conduit underneath, just in case we need to get to the infield, so we don't have to destroy the track.
I don't know about any conversations regarding conduit to go
Yeah.
to the infield. If that's something.
We
need
talked,
to
we
do-
talked about this a while ago. We want to make sure that if you had to run another water line or get something on the inside, you don't want to have to cut the
Yeah,
track.
you don't wanna
You don't,
cut the
we don't
track
want to
to go
do
through it. No,
the
I
track.
agree
We
100%.
just want to make sure there's conduit, so that if you need to get something into the infield, you have the ability through conduit. I mean, really, you're talking PVC.
My understanding, there's a way that they can burrow it actually underneath without having to cut the track. But that still being said, I'm not an expert in that field. I
Okay,
think that's a
we just want to make
conversation-
sure that's
yeah.
considered and
It's not
done,
part of the
because you want to make sure that if you have a problem with irrigation, you got to move the water, or if you have the capabilities.
I will follow any.
So
directions
does that have to
given.
be into this quote? Is that what you're saying, or?
I don't
I'm a
think,
little-
I don't think it's that,
Not a big deal.
well, when he's got the layer off, you got the base, they're really not disturbing it. You're only talking, it should be something that should be explored.
Like I said, I'll follow.
That's what I'm saying, we want to put the conduit in
So
now.
we want, so we want to, when we appropriate the money, we want to just say, with the added scope of running it, burrowing, because the scope doesn't currently include it, so we would want to include that as part of the appropriation to,
If they don't already have
If they
the
don't-
capabilities.
if they
to
don't
get
already
to
have
the-
capabilities
the
to do it, then that to be part of the appropriation.
If they have the capabilities, then it's fine.
Okay.
The only thing I can do at this point, or at this juncture, is talk to the contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, not even talk to these track contractors, talk to a concrete contractor, person who's an expert in laying conduit down, to make sure that if we ever need to, can we do it without disturbing the track and the new surface?
That's fine. I'm just bringing it up in the event,
I
because,
don't know where it would go and where we would need it, so it's hard today to turn around and say, all right, we're gonna go here. I just wanna make sure that if we ever need to, we can do it without damaging any of the work that we're about to do.
so, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I mean, we're gonna make a recommendation that unfortunately, I support and would recommend the council approve this. However, I have a number of items coming up, and you heard the Director of Finance tell you that we have $1 million in surplus only at this time, and that means we have to put up $250,000. I would recommend that the council approve 50% of the project, and that would roughly be about $200,000 each from the town and the Board of Ed. But and I think that would be fair, but again, we have a number of CNR requests that will be coming in the next budget cycle, so right now, with only $1 million in surplus, I'm concerned. We just purchased a brand-new dump truck, and that cost us $250,000.
And just to clarify too, whatever is our surplus is what we normally use for the CNR. And last year, one of the things that we've worked really hard on, Selena and I, and the whole board all of our boards have worked really hard, all three of the boards, to have all of the CNRs come out of our budget. So, it's less money for us to use later. Selena, do you think there's any willingness, especially since we're doing, we are putting into our budgets so many of the other facility needs that the Board of Ed has? Is there any willingness, you think, to go back to your group and ask them to match the 50%, so that way we can utilize the amount? That 50,000 is going to be something else, probably either Board of Ed or town related, because it'll just make our pot smaller on the other end. When we're sitting together in February trying to figure out, do we do the gym, do we do the roof, do we do, you know what I mean? We're gonna be having those conversations, and that 50 may make a difference.
I personally think it's very fair, and I appreciate the offer. I can bring it back to the board and revisit it, and I can't promise anything,
Yeah.
but I think it's a fair ask.
And I think if you bring it back, my perspective on it is, if you bring it back to them, explain to them that, where we would be getting the money would be from future facility projects. So it's helpful if it's the full 50%, because it's just $50,000 that we can then look at the whole list of all the facility stuff and have a little bit more flexibility with that, since our surplus is only $1 million, but it's only $1 million. So that kind of limits how many projects we can do, because last year we had a larger one. Al, go ahead.
Selena, initially, it was gonna be a 50-50 between the town and the Board of Ed to do the track over. What changed the mind on the Board of Ed not to go that 50-50? Is there a particular reason why they did not wanna go 50-50 with that?
Well, I'll just say the whole board wasn't necessarily involved in all of those conversations. These were kind of pre-conversations, and where we kind of thought it might work out that way, because we've been working, so well together on all these projects. But I think at the actual meeting, some people were more hesitant, some board members were more hesitant, based on what I said previously with the federal funding up in the air, and also the special education that fluctuates. So they were just trying to be fiscally responsible for the board.
Well, I will go along with what the town manager said, as far as, we all need tax breaks, but everything is going up, which I understand you want to protect yourself for the case the federal funding doesn't come through, which we don't know. But I was just wondering, how did you arrive that not going to 50-50? That's the thing, where initially is dead.
And it wasn't an easy vote, because at first it did start at the 200,000 actually, and we had some consensus, and then we had another board member have some hesitation and threw out the other number of 150, and so some things changed. So I'm saying it's close, so I think it wouldn't probably be an issue. I can't promise anything, but there's some flexibility. I think we could probably give them some more information and get this going.
All right.
That would be, I understand you guys have to worry about the special ed funding and changes that happen mid-year, but the more we take out of our surplus now, the less we're gonna be able to do in the spring with other facility improvements. And I know that the list has grown. I think Steve Wagonowski told me the overall cost rose with inflation like 13% overall, or just like because of the cost increases. Steve reported that the base cost of everything went up from their estimates, something like that. So, we want to get this done, but I would respectfully ask, maybe if you can go back to your board and see if they'd be willing to kick in an additional 50 so we can match.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we provide from the town 50% of the cost of the
I'll second
track.
Okay, motion was made by Jack, seconded by Al. Now that I have a motion and a second, do I have any further discussion on it?
Do we need to make that motion until we know if they're gonna come up with the other 50%?
Well, if they don't, then nothing happens.
Well, the thing there is, Mr. Claudio, when do you plan on, when do you?
I can call a special meeting at any time if we need this, soon, but I think, we made the motion last night for our portion, so I think we're just
Okay.
doing the opposite tonight with you going first.
The question would be, Mr. Claudio, how soon is this an emergency job, or is it something we could wait, say, another month? I know the contractors, you gotta book them.
I can answer that. If he doesn't have a approval, he can't book the contractor. And you wanna be first in line if you wanna get it done earlier in the season. If you get it done earlier in the season, then they can hold meets here in Cromwell.
Then they can have a season.
And-
Right.
Everybody fights for the same time span of the year to get work done in schools. We all run into the same challenge. So the sooner we get in the books and we're scheduled, the sooner we can all start planning, and they can start planning or order the materials. I can't go ahead and schedule anything unless I have all the funding and the contractor to do it.
Can I offer a suggestion? Can we tie this to a number rather than a percentage? So that in case anything crazy comes up or does.
Sure.
Can
Would
we-
you both take a friendly amendment for what's 50% of the overall number? 200 and 200?
201.5,
Because it's 403,
7?
so.
$202.
201,000, 570.
Okay, so that number, that Cassidy, did you get that number? Okay, so let me start with that. Jack made the motion. Would you accept a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Would you would you take a friendly amendment to say 50% equaling with that number?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so that friendly amendment was accepted by both the parties, so that is the new motion. Any further discussion on it? Okay, hearing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention, motion carries unanimously. So Selena, if possible, if you could go back to your board and see if they'd be willing to kick in the remaining 50,000 or so that's missing. Again, one of the things to emphasize to them is that the more that comes out of our surplus, the less likely we'll be able to do, it limits our facility's ability in February. And I know we've been trying to work really hard together to get a lot of things kicked off that list, and $50,000 will be the difference between one project and another project, because that's just naturally how it comes down to.
All right, Mr. Mayor, what if they come back and say they're not willing to do that? What do we do next?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I mean,
We can debate it and decide if we want to move forward.
Yeah.
Can I just give a piece of information?
Sure.
The chair of the BOE can take it back. This year here, this council voted to provide them with 1.1 million out of our CNR to do projects for the BOE, which was equated to almost roughly 50% of our CNR requests that were approved. So the mayor is exactly correct. That would hamper our ability, but this year here, we did, the council did authorize, along with the Board of Finance and ultimately the people, 1.1 million in CNR.
Yes, we appreciate that. Thank you so much for your collaboration. We've come a long way in a year.
yes, we.
And if you want to just let me know, timeline-wise, our next meeting is October 14th, but if it should be done before then, I can certainly move it up.
Do we have a special meeting or take a phone calls on
I
that?
would say the sooner the better.
I think just because of Claudio's timeline to try to get the contractor looped in, I would think the sooner would be better, because I think Claudio wants to try to get front of line, and if it's not gonna happen on the Board of Ed side, we'll have to have another conversation on it, a special meeting.
Will we have to have another special meeting?
We'll have to have our own special meeting, yeah.
All right, thank you
ASAP.
very much. Go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to share, just to be clear, I'll be working with the town with the purchasing process.
Yeah, of course.
We can't get ahead of ourselves here. The council approved it, and we have to go to the Board of
Finance.
Finance. So, once you approve it, then we can put it on the agenda for the Board of Finance.
And when do they meet, Tony?
The 25th,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of September?
Of September.
So I would
Before
say,
that.
I would say that if you are able to have a special meeting, that would probably be the time to have it before that meeting, so they can just approve the whole, I know they don't approve your surplus, but you know what I mean, they can approve it so that Claudio can go running at the end of September with the purchase order and get in front of the line and kick whoever, no, not kick, gently push aside whoever is already there and say, no, we're first,
Sounds like a good plan.
First
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'll let you know when that date is, and feel free to join us if you'd like to. I know you're very busy, but.
No, I'll try my best. Happy to advocate on this. Thank you for your continued collaboration. Okay, moving on to item 3, tax refunds.
Motion to approve 1 through 30.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Next, we'll go to our chief of police update. I was about to say police of chiefs. Chief of police update.
Samir, you're right, that was very exciting. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that one. See how it goes.
Is it with a CNR request for $200,000?
No,
Maybe it's with a motorcycle gang.
We did get taken over.
I was there.
So, a few things besides what I have already given to the town manager, I wanna go over with you. First of all, I wanna let you guys know that the DUI grant has ended for the year. I will be requesting it again later in a few months. But just to give you some statistics from that, we had 25 roving patrols during the 6 months. We made 117 car stops, 9 DUIs. Out of those DUIs, 1 involved an operator being charged with assault on a police officer, threatening, interfering with an officer. Another one resulted in arrest of a person being charged with interfering with an officer. Another DUI arrest resulted in possession of illegal drugs. And another DUI arrest resulted in the operator being charged with failure to use a interlock ignition device, which that means is they've already been arrested for DUI and they're a repeat offender. So I think it was a very successful DUI event for this past 6 months, and I think it's very worth continuing doing it. As you brought up, 2 Saturdays ago, we had a street takeover. I am happy to say that today we arrested an individual that the sergeant who was working that day was able to identify, and through his investigation, did a warrant for his arrest. And the individual, we found out the group was out of Springfield, Mass. Somehow they were able to drive all the way down to Cromwell, Connecticut, and then drive all the way back. But this individual failed to stop for the officer who tried to stop them, but through investigation, he was able to identify the operator, and we arrested him today. And he had a $25,000 bond on him. He was bonded out, but we did arrest him today.
What street did you take?
Route 372. A couple other things I want to briefly talk about. September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. You'll see some officers wearing this purple and teal pin. It's in support of that. Each officer paid $5 to wear the pin, and I authorized him to wear it for the month of September. So you will see some officers wearing the pin. October 6th through the 17th, police officer standards and training. As some of you may know, Ann, I'm not sure if you weren't here at the time. 2020, the Police Accountability Bill required all police departments in the state of Connecticut to receive Tier 1, 2, and 3 full state accreditation by December of 2025, and here we are, September of 2025, and we have our file review, October 6th through the 17th. We are going for Tier 1, 2. We've already been Tier 1. We're going for Tier 2 and Tier 3 full accreditation with the state of Connecticut. Part of that, and there are 322 standards we have to meet, which required us to add 58 new police policies and adjust the other 57 policies to now give us a total of 115 policies just to address all these standards. So we are ready for the group to come and take a look at all our policies and make sure that we are within, and hopefully come November, I'll have good news to tell you that we are fully accredited. Besides that, I'm here for questions.
Any questions for the chief? Okay, hearing none, chief. Thank you so much. Oh, how did the drive go at Walmart?
Drive went very well.
Good.
Very well. I know they've already turned over the items to town and working with the school.
Good, 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 good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry I wasn't able to make it, but I'm glad it went well. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Captain. We'll move on to the Public Works Director update. Lou has sent out a memo to us with some of the things that he's been working on. Lou had to spend quite a bit of time with me today, so Lou, thanks for spending an hour and a half with me. That's the length.
My pleasure.
That's the length. I don't know about that, but it's the length of a short film. So.
You guys have some updates that I got to you late. Sorry, I was away till late last week. In addition to that,
Ask him where he was.
Where were you?
Sicily for 12 days.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
If
It was rough. It was rough.
if you need a bag
The food
man,
was horrible. Don't believe what you hear.
if you need a bag man, Lou, I can carry your bags.
There you go. I'm ready. I might take you up on that. I did have the radio upgrade on my initial report, and I know it came up earlier. So we did order 54 mobile units. At the time that list was compiled, we asked the foreman of each division to provide us a number, and the intent behind it was to install a mobile unit in all of the primary used vehicles, the ones that go out regularly on a daily basis or multiple times a week. And then each division will have 2 or 3 portables assigned to them, and those can be used, for the bucket truck that only goes out maybe a dozen times a year. Rather than waste a mobile unit, the person who takes that out occasionally can grab one of the portables. The same with the 2 brine trucks. We probably treat the roads with brine 6 to 8, maybe 10 times a year in a bad winter. So no sense tying up 2 radios in those units. So that's the intent behind it, but there's a few mobile units that will be, a lot of mobile units to be assigned, a few portables for each division, and then on top of that, there'll be 3 extra portables in cradles at the highway garage for whatever programs come up. We talk about paving and traffic. When we're out paving, certainly the guys that are on the ground directing traffic can grab a couple of portables. We're going to order hands-free devices so that if, we paved Pasco Hill a couple years ago, it's pretty curvy and you can't see the guy that you're working with. So it'd be nice for them to be able to communicate without hands while they're holding the signs, stop and slow. So all the mobiles are, they're almost all installed. And I guess it's because they may have put them in a vehicle that wouldn't go out regularly and realize that, so they're going to be taken out and then put into different vehicles. The portables, there was a delay since we applied to get on the state system. We had a hard time getting final approval. They rejected 2 or 3 sets of portables for a variety of different reasons. They thought they wouldn't be compatible with the system. They thought they wouldn't support them for X amount of years moving forward. And finally, the state signed off on a model, and they're ordered, and they should be shipped within the next few weeks. So we're looking forward to getting them. And as Tony indicated, there's 3 base units, one to be installed at the PD, one at the highway garage, and one in the Public Works office here. So there'll be certainly there'll be more than enough radios to go around. I think the challenge is, since the current radio hasn't been operating efficiently and effectively for multiple years now, is reconditioning staff to put the cell phones down and get back on the radio, since we invested a significant amount of money. But once all the equipment is installed and available, we'll have those meetings and we'll work on that. And hopefully, it will be before we start I think the big programs where we'll use them a lot would be our curbside leaf collection, paving coming up in October, and certainly for snow removal operations. So that's that.
Senior buses.
Yeah, the senior buses. That's why we wanted to take another look at it and make sure that we had enough to put in all the senior buses as well, because they will go through the whole state. So if they're out on a field trip at the casino or in the northwest corner, God forbid they need assistance, they'll be able to get right in. We just finished our annual catch basin cleaning program. We had a contractor come in and clean about 850 basins. I reported last month that we're paving in October West Street Terrace in Lincoln, and that's scheduled for the middle of October. Highway staff's been out there getting out in front of it and doing a lot of drainage improvements and swapping catch basin tops out. So I think they're almost complete with those roads, so we'll be more than ready, or ready before they are. The basketball court, there was some discussion on that earlier this evening. We did go out there today, and it's level, but there are a couple areas in the seams where maybe it could have been rolled a little bit better. So once the town manager hears from the gentleman that filed the complaints, and we make sure that those are in fact his concerns, staff's ready to go out there with some torches, heat it up and re-roll it, and I think we can get those little imperfections out of there. So the day that the guys did it, it was about 98 degrees with a heat index of 110, and they wanted to get out of there. I was out there and it was hot. When you're working with asphalt, that's 350 degrees below you, so, maybe, but we'll go back and heat it up and we should be able to get it right, so.
Great, thank you, Lou.
Just one piece on that, I was out there, I had, to Al's recommendation, I had gone over to the high school and I looked at that stuff as well. But then I went over to WIS, and, because I had heard that story yesterday, and I went over there and I was looking at the court, and the edges of where they paved too should be, I think, should be looked at as well, because I think if somebody's running to some of those edges, they're a little above the regular pavement, and somebody
So-
could be tripping.
Yeah, maybe a good sweeping.
And I know it's not perfect, but.
When we were asked to go there and replace just the basketball court, staff did suggest taking a look at the whole area, because that whole parking lot was shot. Unfortunately, the Board of, we probably saved the Board of Ed $30,000 to $40,000 by taking that project on ourselves. The ideal thing would have been to call Galasso and get it, reclaimed and had them pave the whole thing. So, kudos to staff that we were in a position to be able to assist like that. Maybe next year if when we do a project like that for the Board of Ed, obviously the labor is just an in-kind cost. There's no finances exchanged, and typically the Board of Ed pays for the materials. So if they want us to try to complete the remainder of that area next off-season, we're not opposed to it at all. But we'll try to patch it up.
I think that's a great suggestion, just to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I have unless you guys have questions. But, staff was a little afraid of it because the rest of that area was in such poor condition. And we were just asked to focus on the basketball court because there were so many wide gaps. They were afraid of someone, getting hurt, children getting injured while they were playing out there. So certainly that part of it's been remediated. We'll take it. Some of those are wide, but you may almost have to patch them. Yeah. And as far as the levelness, we put a level on it today. It's pretty level. I mean, every parking lot's going to have a slight pitch just so the water can run to the curb and to the catch basins, but that thing's pretty level. It's very level, actually, so.
Winter's coming upon us. How is the wash bays doing up at the highway department? I know there was something supposedly broke up there and it was back ordered or something like that. Has this been repaired?
I know they were calling Westmatic for something, but I believe it's been fixed. There was something with a pump and sewer. Wayne went over there and was able to get something running. Yeah, he fixed it. Wayne, sewer, we fixed it in-house.
They're washing trucks.
Yeah, they've been washing trucks. I'm not aware of any problems. If there's a problem out there, I'm not aware of it. There was something a month or two ago, and I know we fixed it ourselves.
Does that have the capability of doing the senior buses by chance?
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't fit in there. Our big trucks fit in. Yeah, they've been up there. They've run through there here and there, and I know when a couple times if we've taken a bus in to do service, I've seen our guys hosing them off. So yeah, there's no problem fitting them in there. We fit our triaxles in there. So.
Brian or Paula? Brian, go ahead.
In one of my many walks along the track, Mr. Waters, I noticed, what was it, last week, week before, there was a backhoe out there on the other side of the fence. And then the other day, I noticed there's a concrete pad maybe or something there. Do we know what's going in there?
Are you talking at the high school?
At the high school, yeah.
So the Board of Ed, Claudio actually hired a contractor to put concrete slabs under the bleachers. That was not town staff.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that along with my walk today.
Good.
And Claudio said it, we're gonna make sure that the user groups know not to drag bleachers or things over the new track once it's installed,
Yeah.
so.
That would be a good idea.
That's the reason for the pad.
Yeah, there you go.
Very bad.
I believe they ordered he said they ordered new bleachers, because they reached out to us when we ordered bleachers down at Pearson after the lights were installed several years ago. We took a stab at putting them together on our own. and I believe we ultimately reached out to a guy that does it for a living, and he came with town staff. We paid him for a few hours to point us in the right direction. So Claudio is looking for our assistance putting them together. I'm certainly not opposed to helping, but it may make sense, you know, and I'll talk to him about it, to do the same thing, because these are a little more involved than a simple set of bleachers. So someone that's more versed in it with our hands providing the labor, I think it'll go more smoothly than us trying to do something that's really not in our wheelhouse.
Go ahead, Brian.
They purchased new bleachers, or did they just put pads down for the bleachers they had?
They put pads down and ordered new bleachers, and I think he mentioned that when he was here earlier. They got new bleachers that'll hold up to 300 people. So it's,
Don't ask, I know what you're thinking. I
Yeah.
don't know.
yeah, they ordered new bleachers.
Do we not have to approve X amount of dollar amount for expenditures?
Put it out of their funds.
Must have came out of their surplus.
And they're gonna be bolted to the ground too, right?
Yeah, I believe they are gonna fasten them to the ground.
Paula, any questions for Lou?
Sometimes less is more. I've learned that over the years.
Ann or Jack, any other questions for Lou? Lou, I had one quick question. Do you want to just give the council an update when we went out there with Alice and Mike and a couple other people off of Route 3?
So behind behind the
I
speed
forgot
shop
the name.
and the old tent place across from Coles Road there on Shumpike.
And Brian was there too. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Brian
Brian
was,
was there,
I
yeah.
didn't say Brian was there too. Brian was there too.
There's wetlands, and over the years, you know, consistent with several other low spots in town with sediment, that's just the water levels rising, and we do have sewer infrastructure in there, a couple manhole covers, and it's getting to the point where when the water level is up, they don't have access to go in and do maintenance. And in fact, when we went there Friday, we've been in a, you know, significant drought, and it was before the inch and a half or so of rain that we got over the weekend, and they're really inaccessible. So we're taking a look at trying to pinpoint the problem and see what improvements need to be made. And some of the discussion we had the other day was staff will be contacting the abutting property owners to make them aware, and hopefully there's some collaborative effort between the property owners and us. I mean, we do have easements through there, so we're supposed to have access to go in and do maintenance. So once we notify the property owners, and hopefully there's willingness to cooperate and assist us with this problem, we'll probably reach out to the DEEP and/or Army Corps of Engineer to see what type of permitting is required and see what.
There's a crushed pipe.
Yeah, it's been there for decades. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even know when it went in, but.
And just to are we taking the lead on it, or is CWPCA taking the lead on it?
I think Dan Parisi, our sewer administrator, is the appropriate person too, with whatever support he needs from myself and/or engineering. And then he would keep his board, the CWPCA, apprised of what's going on, I think is the appropriate course.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Lou.
Yep. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so let me move on to our next item. We move citizens' comments. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business because we voted on the track. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes August 13th, August 25th, and August 25th. Made by Paula.
Second.
Second by Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Item O1A, we have an appointment of Heather Deming to the Community Events Committee for a regular term expiring September 1, 2028.
Motion approved.
Made by Al.
Second.
Second by Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, informational items. Does anyone have any informational items about anything that's happening in town they want the public and the town council to be aware of?
No, but I guess I better get out and walk more.
Yeah.
Just one thing, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
The questions went to the Secretary of State in the time frame, and have we heard back yet? No. Yeah, I know.
Hopefully we're in the clear.
But we did make the date, and we should be all set for the ballot.
Great. Trying trying to think if I have any major informational items that I haven't already covered. I think we are in good shape. As always, if folks have questions or other things they want to put on any agendas in the future, always let me know. And Al, moving forward, if we have an item on our agenda that involves a specific site, I will see if we can arrange at least the opportunity for a site visit beforehand. One thing to just warn is that we can't discuss business if we're all out there together, because then it would constitute an illegal meeting. So if 4 or more of us are together, we can't actually we can't make any comments or talk about anything while we're there. And Mike, I see Mike laughing in the audience, but Mike has been on many of the silent planning and zoning walks. But all good things. So I will take a motion to adjourn at 8:24. Made by Paula, second by Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries, I'm going to say unanimously. Thank you all and have a good night.